Hey folks, how's everybody doing today? Chris Cook in Nashville here, checking in for this week's vlog. Just got a quick update for you guys today. So my wife and I are going to be headed out of town tonight, overnight for a show. We're playing over in Knoxville. So we're going to be taking off after work today to go do that, and I'll tell you a little bit about what I'm going to do food-wise, because we won't be back until after we play the show tomorrow. Give you guys some ideas of just kind of what I'm doing and how I do that. But health-wise, I'm doing all right today. I'm a little tired. I didn't sleep super well last night. That's a stress thing more than it is anything. But, you know, carnivore is not bulletproof. Doesn't matter what you do, you're still going to have to deal with stress and just that kind of stuff. We've just been really busy lately, and I've been experimenting in the kitchen, coming up with some new recipes for you guys. A couple I'm really excited about. In fact, I haven't seen anybody doing anything like it. So yeah, so I've just been really super busy. Stress kind of affecting sleep, but you know, just it is what it is. So but overall I'm good. Weigh-in this morning, I was just a little over 295, so I'm like a few tenths of a pound above that 50-pound weight loss goal. So another, you know, a few tenths of a pound and I'll have hit that 50 goal. I actually dropped below it one day. I was down at like 294.7, but it was also kind of one of those mornings where I was real thirsty. I think I may have been a little dehydrated, and then my body held on to some water for the next few days, so it kind of fluctuated, you know, a little bit in there, I think, and everything. So, but generally speaking, you know, I'm down in that like 295 range, and I mean, that's fantastic. That's not only breaking the 300 goal that I was talking about before, but that is massively stomping that below 300 goal, because I am a number of pounds below that and have been consistently. After I broke that below 300 thing, I weighed myself several times in a row, which I don't recommend you do. I just did that because, one, I knew it wasn't going to mess with my mental state and my perspective on my weight loss. But two, I wanted to see, like, okay, did I drop below it and then, you know, go back up the next day, or am I solidly below 300? And I'm solidly below 300. So that's great. Super excited about that. So that's really good. I feel good. Everything is good. Clothes, you know, continue to fit looser and looser. We're doing our thing. Everything is good health-wise. So like I said, I've been experimenting in the kitchen. I've been doing some really interesting things, and I'm not going to tell you guys quite yet what it is I'm working on, because I want it to be a little bit of a surprise drop for you guys on a couple of the things I'm going to be doing. Let's just say that it's stuff that you probably didn't think you would ever be able to eat as a carnivore, and I think I'm going to give you some options to do it. And even if you're keto or ketovore, it's going to be better than the options that have been provided to you before, I think. So we're still perfecting those recipes. My wife is so begrudgingly being a guinea pig as I'm cooking things for her, but we're getting really, really close on that. So speaking of food and cooking, thought I would tell you guys just a little bit about kind of what I'm doing to make the food thing work as we travel. Our trip today is going to be 3.5 hours probably. We're gonna, you know, leave after work time, so it's before we would normally eat dinner. My wife and I were talking about this, and she said, you know, if you want, we can just eat something before we leave, and then we'll go and, you know, we'll do our thing. And we can do that. That's totally fine. That's an option. But I was like, you know, if we eat earlier than we're used to eating, then we might potentially end up being a little bit hungry tonight before we go to bed in a hotel, which, you know, we're already in a situation where that's going to be a little more difficult. So I was thinking, like, what can we do that would be able to conveniently feed us on the go as we're in the car? So I have done a couple of things here. Tomorrow, honestly, you know, we're playing, our show is like a morning type radio style show. So we'll be playing earlier in the day, and we'll probably be back, around dinner time in Nashville. So I'm not really particularly worried about tomorrow. I'm just going to wake up in the morning, have coffee, and fast until dinner time. That's what I was doing today anyway. So it's what I do most days. So that doesn't really affect me. And honestly, when my wife is not working, she does that very regularly too when we're busy doing stuff. We just don't eat anything until dinner. So tomorrow, we're totally taken care of. So what about tonight? So what I did is I have a sirloin tip roast. And I have that in a sous vide, which if you don't know what sous vide is, it's a French cooking technique where you seal a piece of meat or anything really that you're cooking and then submerge it in a water bath. So I seasoned it, just salt and a little bit of pepper, sealed it and submerged it in a water bath, and you keep it at an exact temperature. So it's at 134 degrees. That's where I did this tip roast for us. It's at 134 degrees exactly, stays right there so it does not overcook. You can leave it as long as you want, and with a big roast like that, I put it in yesterday, so it's going to be over 24 hours that is cooking at 134 degrees exactly. It's not boiling, it never touches the water, and it never goes over that amount of that temperature, no matter the amount of time. So essentially, you keep breaking down the collagen that is within the meat, and it tenderizes it. Now, you can go too far and it can get mushy, so you do have to be careful. And kind of know what you're doing. But 24 hours on a big roast like that, no problem. So I'm sous videing the roast, and when I get home from work, actually, I'm going to take that out. I'm going to ice bath it, bring the temperature down just a little bit. I'm going to use a blowtorch that I have, like a food blowtorch. I'm going to sear it on the outside with that just to give it a color, a crust on the outside. And then I'm going to pull out a deli slicer, and I'm going to slice that thin like a roast beef. So we'll be able to eat that in the car. All we need is our fingers. We don't need, forks and knives and whatever. Now that's about a little over a 2-pound roast. So you're going to lose some of that, of course, in water that cooks out, which, by the way, what cooks out of a sous vide roast like that is the best beef broth you will ever eat in your entire life. Do not throw that away if you have a sous vide. That stuff is incredible. Makes wonderful carnivore gravy. If you haven't seen that video, go check that one out. It's really good for carnivore gravy that I make. It's really good for soups. It's all kinds of things you can do with it. So you're going to lose some of the weight in that liquid that cooks out, though, but that gets used elsewhere. So it's about 2 pounds raw, at least, of meat. So that should be plenty of beef for the two of us. I also did a dozen eggs, hard-boiled, and used my butter mayo. Go watch that video too. I used the spreadable butter mayo, and I turned those into deviled eggs, which are easy to eat on the go. And I've got like a little deviled egg holder because we love deviled eggs. So I've got like a little plastic deviled egg holder that those go in that holds on to them. So we've got those. And then I've got just a few little snacky type things for her. I've got veggies, and I've got the ranch dressing that I make from the butter mayo. That video is there as well if you're interested. That's kind of like her, dipping veggies in ranch kind of a thing, because she is keto. She's not carnivore like me. She's keto, so she likes to have her veggie content. So we'll have the veggies. I got some string cheese just in case we're like, oh my gosh, we gotta have something to eat. And I don't go real heavy on dairy most of the time, which I know several of the videos I've done lately have had a bunch of dairy, but normally that's a more rare occurrence. I've just been doing those videos, but I've got some string cheese because, I don't want to go heavy on the dairy. But if we get hungry and we need something, that's a lot faster and better than the other junk that I could be eating. So anyway, so that's kind of what we're going to do. We've got meat and eggs, and it's all very convenient. It's easy to eat at room temperature, or, a cool temperature, because we'll have a little backpack cooler that I'm going to keep it all in. And so when dinner time rolls around and we're driving, she can eat and I can reach over and grab food out of the bag and eat. And, we're going to be like kids. We're going to eat with our fingers tonight. So, it's little things like that, right? It's the little things you can do to try to make yourself consistent in this, even if you have to do something like travel 3 hours out of town, stay overnight, play a show, do your thing, how do you do this in the car, right? And, you know, if this was going to be a longer trip and we needed to come up with, you know, more meals than just the one, you know, obviously there's things like steakhouses, and there's certain restaurants that, you know, fast food places you can go through and just get meat patties, and it's like, are those things totally ideal? Yeah, probably not, but it's how you can stay as consistent as possible and continue to do this. That's just what you got to do, you know, when this is important, because you realize the good things it does for you. The inconvenience of having to plan for something like that, it becomes very minor in comparison. So anyway, that's what we're doing, and it should all be really good. So I've got some more recipe stuff coming your way, but still working on that. And I'm thinking, you know, I've tried a couple of videos now in a new format for the recipes, and I think for at least the more simple recipes, that seems to work really well. Everybody loves it. The more detailed videos, there are some recipes that I'm working on that I still think, you know, I'll do that way, because it'll be easier for everyone to get every detail if I kind of go through and explain each step. Because some of my stuff, the ingredients may not be that hard, but there are a lot of intentional steps you have to take to make the ingredients react the right way. And those are the videos, like the butter mayo, those are the videos that I think doing it as a more intentional video where I take more time to explain stuff, I think that is still beneficial. But for a lot of the more simple recipe videos, the voiceover, quicker style that I've been doing the last couple of videos, everybody really seems to love. So I'll keep doing that kind of stuff. If you have suggestions, feedback, you know, feel free to let me know. I'm just trying to do things that are helpful for you guys and important for you and inspire you. And, you know, I'm also working on some merch, some t-shirts and cups and, you know, koozies and all that kind of fun stuff. See what options there are with the company that I'm working with, but I'm designing some stuff. I've had a few people, you know, request that kind of stuff. So anyway, lots of new stuff coming, cool things. Guys, I just really appreciate you all. I started this YouTube channel back at the beginning of the year because I wanted to do something and just sort of give back. And, you know, I dove into Carnivore like, hey, you know, I've done it before, but this time it's for real and I got to do it all the way. And so I started putting it on here because I realized I was seeing all these other people that were inspiring me and inspiring so many other people by just telling their story, because we all have some story to tell about this. And I just decided, you know, I need to do that. And then I started to realize that I can cook really well, and there's a lot of people that like the recipes that I do. And I was like, well, sometimes that's inspiring too, because it's like, it's great to say, oh, I'm not going to eat any of the junk, but then you also have to ask the question, but what do I do instead? And if you don't have the experience in the kitchen that I do, that may feel daunting. You know, kitchen stuff it's not necessarily anything I'm doing is hard, but I've just done it so much over time, you just get really good at it. And when you don't have that experience backing you up, it can be difficult and it can feel very overwhelming to try to do this stuff, especially if you're trying to do it, you know, you've got a job, you've got a family to cook for, you've got other responsibilities. That can be so difficult to try to, okay, I'm going to do all of this, we're going to completely change our diet, I'm going to go through carb cravings, and on top of it, now I have to learn how to cook all of these things that I've never cooked before. And it's overwhelming, and it makes it so easy to just fall back into the pattern of go through the drive-through, buy the stuff that's in the freezer section, you know, whatever it is that just gets you through a Tuesday night at home when soccer practice and church events and community things and husband working late or wife working late or, you know, whatever, when all of that stuff life throws at you happens all at once, it can be really tough to remember why you're carnivore or ketovore or keto or whatever. So I'm doing those recipe videos because I just want you guys to see this is how I do it. This is what tastes really good. And believe me, I know good food, so I know they taste good. It tastes good. It's, you know, it's pretty straightforward. It's not as daunting when you have somebody else walking you through it. And then you can see the actual results that it has on my body as you guys are watching me change in front of your eyes. So I need to shave. That's kind of the next big change I need to make is trim up the beard a little bit. It's getting a lot out of control, but But yeah, that's why I'm doing this, and I appreciate that you guys are here, that you're watching. It means so much to just have people to share this with and have a community that is supportive. And I just love you guys. You're all awesome, and you are worth every last bit of taking the time to prioritize your health. And it's going to be so worth it when you can break through whatever the barriers are you're dealing with at the moment, and your family is going to see a better and healthier you, and you start inspiring the people around you. It really is worth it, and I believe in every single one of you that you absolutely can do it. And I'm just trying to offer you some resources to help in what way makes the most sense to me based on what helped me. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys rock. This is Chris Cookin' Nashville. Eat your meat, love your life. I'm going to go play a show, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.